there, I'm JB Portello. Welcome to In the Know. This program is to help you be aware and informed of projects and events going on in our area. Each month, we're going to post the program on the POA's Facebook page and make it available on community television. Want to be in the know? Then stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to In the Know. This is the morning of the heavy storm that came through, and unfortunately JB had a number of trees that fell down in front of her front yard and her driveway, and she's unable to make it today, so I'm going to go it alone. The first thing we're going to talk about is the celebrating success that we just had. This is when we recognize our outstanding employees, and the first two I want to talk about are our Lake Point stars, Tommy Carter and Chris Anderson. They're both doing a tremendous job. They were nominated by their supervisor for just going above and beyond and really helping out our guests as much as possible, and for Chris's creativity with creating new and different drinks specials. So those are the first ones. The next one is Gil Rodriguez. He's our HR clerk, and he was nominated by our maintenance and construction department for just doing a fantastic job with taking care of all the applications that they have to go through with open positions and processing those open positions, and just an all-around fantastic job. And then the last one is Rick Eccles and a long list of Lake Rangers, Dylan, Greg, Bob, and Lee. And what happened with that is there was a boat on Loch Lomond that had sunk, and they came out and they were able to get the boat off the bottom and set up barriers so the oil and gas would not go anywhere. And they were able to save the property owner about $4,000, which would have been the quote on how much it was going to cost to get it out of the water, and they were able to do it. So fantastic job, and kudos to all of the celebrating success. So last week we had a board meeting. The board voted regarding going forward with the effort for a 2020 assessment increase. The critical dates, the upcoming critical dates are September 30th. You must be a member in good standing in order to receive a ballot. You should receive your ballots around October 9th. And the ballots must be in by November 19th. That evening at 6 p.m. at Reardon Hall, we'll have a meeting to reveal what occurred. If the assessment increase is approved by the membership, then it would go into effect as of January 1. So more to come on that. Also, what was covered at the board meeting is that the sale of Arkmo land was completely finalized. It was sold for the full appraised value of $1,475,000, less I think it was $9,000 or $10,000 in closing costs, but we got the full appraised value, which I'm very pleased with, and that really helps our financial position with the as a result of all the expenses related to the fire. Another issue was Birksdale. Last week, the golf committee had a meeting regarding Birksdale. They're looking at some creative ideas on how to keep that golf course open, even though the bridge is down. The golf committee has tasked the management team with a couple different thoughts on what could be done, and has asked them to report back at the September golf meeting. Next, on the Trafalgar fire, the phase 2 plans are due as of September 8th, one of the two, I'm not sure. And I've been told that those will be submitted on time. So we're looking forward to seeing what ADQ has to say about that. Returning back to the 2020 plan, I encourage our residents to go to our website and if you go into member resources, if you click on that, you'll see on the top of the page, on the member resources page, where you can go in and you can get information regarding the 2020 plan. I encourage you to go through that. There's a lengthy Q&A section. Every time someone sends in a question to me, I'll send them a reply, and then in many cases, I'll post that reply, the question and the reply, to our Q&A section, so that we're just being as transparent as possible and trying to provide as much information as possible regarding the 2020 plan. Also, we've received a number of questions related to the financials. So how are you able to give reductions in, say, fitness and tennis and golf? How are you able to substantiate that the $6 that you're going to allocate to that is a sufficient amount of money? So what we did was we looked at, for the last 2 years, the amount of rounds played, the number of fitness memberships that were sold, range balls sold, everything. We looked at everything for a 2-year period, and we looked at the count, how many rounds of golf did we play and so forth. And then we, based upon the new pricing structure, we set up and determined how that would impact our financials. Now, a lot of people have come to me and said, well, did you estimate an increase? So for example, we sell 10,000 photo IDs per year at $38 a piece. The activity card will be $30. We think that there's going to be a tremendous number of additional cards sold, activity cards sold, because it will include unlimited use of the fitness facilities, the pools, the lakes, the beach, so forth. We think it's going to be such a great plan that a lot of people are going to purchase those. But what we did in our forecast, we forecasted that it would stay constant, that we would sell only 10,000. We've sold 10,000 for 2 years straight, that we would sell 10,000. I think it's going to increase, but I don't know how much it's going to increase. Is it going to increase 10%, 20%, 30%? Who knows? So the most conservative thing to do was to assume that it would stay flat. I think with this new pricing structure for golf memberships that we're going to sell additional ones. How much? 5%, 10%? There's no way to know. So we estimated that it would stay constant. That way, if we do bring additional, then that's a great situation. But I didn't want to be in a situation where we estimated a 20% increase in golf only to fall short and only get 10%, and then we were missing our budget. So we took a very conservative route, and based upon those calculations, that's how we came up with the determination that we would have to allocate $6 of the additional of the 11, which is the addition. $6 would go to offset those fees. I think it's pretty safe to say that the number of rounds of golf, the number of photo IDs or activity cards sold, I don't think it's going to go down. We're making the plan so much better. I can't believe that those would go down. But we do know that we estimated flat throughout. So that's one of the questions that was covered, that has been asked a number of times. The last one, JB always asks about my favorite rumor. So my favorite rumor is that in the 2020 plan, we've talked about that we're going to go with those rates, the fee schedule, for 3 years, and that we're going to dramatically increase them after that 3-year period. And that's just not the case. So here was the thought process, is we wanted to give the membership a commitment of 3 years. We wanted to make sure that the membership, if they voted this into effect, that 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, we wouldn't all of a sudden change the rates and jack them up. We have no plan of doing that. So we made a 3-year commitment. And I think a 3-year commitment is pretty strong. You could have made an argument that we should only made a 1-year commitment or a 2-year commitment. Now, what are we going to do in 2023? Who knows? That's 3 years away. It's just too far in the future to determine. One of our board members, Tia Bidwell, she's made a statement. You can't go to McDonald's and ask them what they're going to charge for a Big Mac 3 years from now. They're not going to answer that question. So we can't answer what our fees are going to be 3 years from now. But we do know this all-inclusive fee schedule makes sense. It works for our community. We want this to succeed. So why would we then change it in 2023? Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.